This science fiction and adventure story begins in a future where humanity has started building colonies on various planets across the universe. Humanity was gradually expanding throughout the cosmos. It was no longer just about living on Earth. Humans had made their presence known on every planet, producing their own resources there and sustaining life independently. Among all these planets and settlements, one planet stood out: Mother World. The ruler of this place had only one ambition: to conquer all other planets and bring them under his rule. By doing this, he would become the supreme ruler of the entire universe, and everyone would have to obey his laws without question. The king made every effort to gather his army and continue capturing one planet after another. He had also appointed several generals who would travel to different planets, collect resources, and if the settlers resisted, they were killed. In a way, this king was committing atrocities across the universe. What he didn't know was that soon something would happen that would bring his entire empire to an end. We are now shown a spaceship from Mother World, where General Quisius is aboard. General Quisius has been assigned a mission to attack Vel Planet and collect all its resources. Vel Planet was within the same galaxy, but the distance was significant. It would take several days to reach there. General Quisius is seen speaking with a boy named Eris. Eris is not just anyone. He is actually a resident of Vel Planet. In other words, he is a spy working for General Quisius, secretly helping him gather information. The general firmly instructs Eris to keep the locals distracted. We'll be there in a few days and wipe them all out. The story then shifts to Vel Planet, where a group of warriors is returning from battle. The villagers welcome these warriors with joy, especially a brave girl named Cora, who is the leader of the group. Cora is exceptionally courageous. She had even destroyed one of Mother World's spaceships. The villagers give her a warm welcome and offer plenty of food in celebration. With great joy, Cora announces that they have killed one of the generals, which gives them hope that the soldiers from Mother World won't attack again. But perhaps Cora is mistaken. Shortly after, Eris arrives at the village. He warns everyone that things are not going to go the way they think. In just a few days, he says, another spaceship and army from Mother World will arrive, and this time they might wipe out all the residents and take every last resource. This revelation shows us that while Eris is working for Mother World, he's also secretly helping the people of Vel Planet. Why? Because Eris has fallen in love with a girl from that planet, and there's no way he will let these people die. Once the truth is out, everyone becomes highly alert. They realize they must act fast for their protection. That's when a black man from their team, a respected leader, steps forward to guide them. He explained that all the villagers needed to unite. Fighting those dangerous soldiers alone wasn't possible. So, the black man gathered all the villagers and pointed out that their biggest problem was the resources. The enemy soldiers wanted those resources so they could be used as a weapon. The black man first ordered that everyone must collect and secure all the available resources. But the problem was that the resources were so vast, it was extremely difficult to gather them quickly. Still, he motivated everyone by saying, "It's difficult, but not impossible. If we want to save our planet, we must do this." Thanks to his powerful motivation, the villagers understood what was at stake. A new kind of energy stirred within them. Everyone began working according to the plan. They were preparing for the battle ahead. Meanwhile, Cora was with a man named Ghana. They liked each other very much and had grown close. After spending some beautiful moments together, Cora opened up about her past. She said that she had been involved in combat and warfare from a young age, especially after her parents died. She was adopted by a group of rebels. She then spoke about the daughter of the king of Mother World. When the princess discovered her inner powers, it was revealed that she had healing abilities. She could heal any injury effortlessly. But the king, with his destructive mindset and desire to conquer every planet, was shocked when he learned of his daughter's gift. Now the king began to think, "My daughter has the power to save lives, while I keep destroying them across planets. This is completely contradictory." As a result, the king decided to stop the conquests. He ordered all generals and soldiers who had been sent to other planets to return immediately. According to the king, there would be no more wars. But obviously, the soldiers weren't happy with this decision. They had become addicted to killing, and it wasn't something they could give up so easily, especially the generals who had developed even more dangerous mindsets than the king himself. These generals and armies had now turned against the king. They wanted to expand their power even more. So they devised a plan to kill the king. They also believed that the princess should be eliminated too, because she could become a symbol of peace. And if that happened, then no one would get hurt in war, and if they did, she'd simply heal them. The most shocking twist was that Korra was also part of one of these rebel groups, because her stepfather had adopted her into that faction. She had only been told that they wouldn't kill the king, but capture him and try to change his way of thinking. But in the end, it was revealed that the soldiers had secretly killed both the king and the queen, and even didn't spare the princess. When Korra tried to speak out against it, all the blame was pinned on her, that she was the one who murdered the entire royal family. Korra somehow managed to escape with her life, and since then, she has been living on Vel Planet, trying to lead a peaceful life. But deep inside, she knew that she had to seek revenge. No matter what, she would avenge the death of the king by taking down those cruel generals. Now, we are shown General Quisius's laboratory, where another general is present. His name is Ethicus. He had previously lost a battle to Korra and her warriors. That same battle, when Korra and her team were returning home after fighting, was against him. Korra had believed Ethicus was dead, but General Quisius had secretly treated him with advanced technology and brought him back to life. Ethicus was now consumed with rage and vengeance. He wanted to destroy Korra and everyone on her planet. If it were up to him, he would erase the entire planet. But if Ethicus used all his power now, it would severely weaken him. General Quisius tried to explain this to him. However, Ethicus refused to listen and started getting out of control. Senior doctors were closely monitoring him and eventually sedated him with strong doses to prevent further chaos. Meanwhile, on Vel Planet, everyone was working as per the plan. They were collecting the grains and other resources scattered across the land and preparing to use them as protection. Though it was time-consuming, every single villager contributed, and both Black Man and Korra were doing their best to gather all resources. Black Man instructed, "Place all the collected resources around your homes. That way, when the enemy attacks from above, your homes will be protected." He had even called rebel groups from other planets to help. These were the same rebels who were against the king and the generals. Bringing them into the army was the smartest decision. Their forces would grow stronger, and those rebels could finally fulfill their dream of living a free life after the war. Black Man was grateful to them for their support. They even ordered advanced weapons for the villagers and warriors, because this war was obviously not going to be easy. Counterattacks were expected, so they had to be ready to strike back. Korra and Ghana started setting up various traps. They dug deep holes on the battleground, which would act as pitfalls for enemies. Clever ambush tactics to trap the invading soldiers. Strategic planning was in full swing. Black Man explained the full plan clearly. Everyone must be inside their homes when the attack begins. When the enemy begins heavy firing, they must wait it out until the enemies start reloading. A bell would ring. This would be the signal to launch a counterattack. At that moment, no one should hold back. They must strike continuously. Even Eris, the loyal ally of General Quisius, had now fully joined Korra and the others. General Quisius began to suspect this, noticing that Eris was no longer sharing detailed intel the way he used to. Still, the defenders of Vel Planet were planning smartly and efficiently, and would continue doing so to keep their planet safe. Black Man and all the soldiers believed that a war can't be won by simply having a large army. It requires immense courage and foolproof planning. These were exactly the things Korra and her allies were working on. They were also providing intense training to the rest of the soldiers so they could perform better in the upcoming battle. Their weapons had become more advanced, and their numbers had also grown significantly. Meanwhile, a man named Eric returned from the forest with the villagers, bringing back a crashed spaceship. This spaceship had originally belonged to Korra and her team and had fallen during a previous battle. The villagers somehow managed to pull the damaged ship out, made some minor repairs, and got it working again. Now, they too had access to an advanced spaceship which would be a major asset in fighting the enemy. All its modules were functioning perfectly. They were now fully equipped to both defend and counterattack. We're then shown Korra and the key soldiers who will lead the army in battle. Their general is also present, guiding them with strategic advice and leadership. The general proposed an activity that everyone must do before the war. Even though we are about to fight our enemies, he said, we must first know ourselves, the parts of our lives that give us a reason to fight the ones who hide in the shadows. He began by sharing his own story. The general confessed that he once worked for the Mother World. He was a soldier in charge of entire units. One day, the people from Mother World ordered his troops to attack a planet and kill its residents. But when he arrived with his soldiers, he realized that only children and elderly people lived on that planet, peaceful beings simply trying to survive. Because of this, the general refused to carry out the command. He stopped his soldiers from attacking. They couldn't bring themselves to kill innocent lives. But the higher-ups on Motherworld didn't take this act of defiance lightly. They immediately launched a spaceship and with a laser beam wiped out the entire planet, including the general's soldiers. Motherworld knew that any sign of rebellion could be dangerous, so they decided to eliminate potential threats before they could rise. From that moment on, the general swore to destroy Motherworld's regime, no matter what. He vowed to protect his people and fight for a peaceful life. Hearing his story, everyone was stunned. Most of them had joined the rebellion simply to fight for their freedom, but Motherworld had taken everything from the general. So his deep dedication to this war made perfect sense. Moved by the general's story, others also began sharing their own stories. One woman, Mealy's, spoke up. She said she had never fought in a war before, but on the planet she once lived, her entire village had been slaughtered by the people from Motherworld. "We only wanted to live a normal, peaceful life," she said. "They had wiped out everyone so brutally that not even a trace of them remained." Mealy's witnessed her entire family and all the villagers slaughtered before her eyes. In fact, the few who survived were taken by Motherworld as forced laborers. These invaders had no mercy for the poor and helpless. They only cared about what benefited them, nothing more. Since that day, Mealy's joined the rebel groups, and her sole mission became the destruction of Motherworld. Until everything was truly free, she vowed she would not rest.